what's poppin', peeps? Welcome back to Zach Lesage. PTCG, I'm Zach Lesage. Word up. Today we're going to be going over the top 16 gameplay of this event. So, long story short, my entire computer crashed this weekend. I came back from a small little weekend trip to find out that everything was corrupted, so I had to redo everything, including overlays, setting up OBS. So, my apologies if anything was not necessarily... if it's not as normal or anything. I'm still working on it, but hopefully this new overlay looks awesome, and I'm glad to be here. So as long as everything's working, that should be amazing. I'm going to be pairing Top Cut momentarily, so I'm going to get that started, and then we should be relatively good to start our games. So we have a lot of great players who've made top cuts. I'm just going to go over a few of them, at least some of the more notable players. All right, so we have Henry Brand, our 2019 World Champion, recently invited to the Players' Cup Invitational. Amazing player. Rory Sharp, coming in top cut, clutch last week. Hayden Frew, one of the top online players in the game. Gabriel Smart, TCG. Isaac Schroen, our champion from last week, still has it over. So what's poppin', peeps? Hopefully everyone's having a good one. We're gonna be watching Gabe's game. I'm just gonna let Gabe know that he needs a screen share. I'm just waiting for the game. So how's everyone doing tonight? What is going on, peeps? And we should be watching this game. I'm going to move on to the game just so we can get into the gameplay. Can everyone let me know if they can hear me all right? Because I just want to make sure that everything's all good from that point. So let me also switch over to this. Yeah, Michelle coming in 17th. It is tough, but it is what it is. It's still a top 32 placement. So let's go on to this gameplay, and I'm just gonna switch over to Discord. Okay, let me see what we got going on here. So that looks, I think that looks pretty crispy. As long as someone can let me know if they could hear everything, that'd be awesome. And then we can start commentating over the games. I just want to make sure that peeps are able to hear me. Gameplay. Just waiting. So for me, it looks like we got it going on my side. So I'll let anyone confirm. I'm going to jump into Gabe's game and see exactly what's going on. So Gabe is playing against Ryoto Sato. Perfect, good to hear. Awesome. Ryoto looks like they're playing Luke Metal. I know Discord can be a little bit glitchy at times when we're doing that screen sharing. And Gabe is playing his trusty Shadow Rider deck list. Now, with Gabe's list, Gabe does play the copy of Path to the Peak. So that is the out to knocking out the Zamazenta V. Hey, thank you so much, Nat, for coming in. Also, to everyone who's wondering what's going on, I am both live streaming on Twitch and YouTube. So if it looks like I'm talking to someone who is not in the chat, I'm just doing both right now. I'm the guy that does it all. So when it comes down to other things going on here, so Gabe's whole plan is to really come over Zamazenta V. From what we can see, there's a few interesting techs from what we have in Gabe's list. So looking over at Gabe's list, sorry, not Gabe's list, in Ryoto's list. So if we go over to Ryoto's list, I see that there's Galar Mine in the deck, Wondrous Lab, Big Parasol, Erica's Hospitality, a lot of Japanese players after Yamato was the secret boss in the Players' Cup Invitational. It's one of those things where it's a little bit kind of weird to see the Erica's Hospitality, but they love it apparently, which is a really interesting tech here. Now, Gabe starting with that Dedenne, the Rainbow Dedenne up in the active, it's tough because he doesn't have access to getting out. How is he going to get around that? Is he going to go for a gigantic Horror House GX? It just like assault tackle. What's going to go on? So Gabe's Dedenne GX is gone. I think Gabe's got to send up the Gengar and Mimikyu GX here and kind of just like deal with it. Horror House GX seems like a good idea. Using Boss's orders first could just like grab 3 prize cards. Does he want to draw more cards? No, he's just gonna go for the plain old Horror House GX. And I mean, I think Ryoto is just gonna go ahead and Ryota is just gonna go for the 130. Will Gabe be able to like respond with a knockout? That's the big question. Now I know a few peeps here. I'm just gonna respond to the chat quick. Crash, am I gonna play in Pog? I totally am going to play in Pog. Obviously, if everything goes well. Just gonna double check here. Let me just see what I did. So apparently I did Swiss top cuts instead of doing it. So it should be single elimination. So I'm just going to take care of that. So I'm just going to be right back and fix that right away. sorry about that, everyone. There was a little bit of an issue with what's going on with the top cuts. I accidentally put things as Swiss rounds instead of top cuts. So the way that I'm rectifying this is giving everyone a tie this round. It will affect people's resistance, but with the prizing being packs and no one necessarily intentionally drawing into a matchup as far as I'm concerned, it shouldn't necessarily affect the tournaments. So the players who are in the top 16 are going to stay in the top 16. Again, it's my complete bad as a tournament organizer that I missed that, so we are fixing that right now. Everything's going to start at 1:30 a.m. So stay tuned for that for the top 16. Alright everyone, we're going to be back with the top 16, the real top 16 soon. I released a statement on Twitter, so my bad on doing that. It's the best that I could possibly do for this event. My apologies for anyone who was affected by the games, but it is going to be the same original top 16 players. So some players got to play kind of a warm-up game. It just extends the event a little bit for me. So again, my apologies for anyone that affected it. We will see some gameplay very soon. So I'm really hyped to show everyone some gameplay. And I mean, I don't think anything else is going to go on, so I'm going to go ahead and put up the next rounds. See exactly what's going on. Hopefully there's no issues. I've given every player as much notice as possible. I mean, it's the same top 16 players. It sucks that some matchups are going to be a little bit better. Some people are going to be happy. Some people are going to be upset. But this is life, and this is the best fix that I have currently. So I'm going to go ahead and pair next round. So we should be good here. So I'm going to see if I can stream a game. I'm not entirely sure who I'm going to stream. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. we'll be all good. It's one of those things where we should all be good. I think all players here are just checking in. Might be a few players who straggle a little bit. And I'm just going to quickly put this up, so bear with me for one moment. Be up in a minute. You have 3 minutes to check in. Top 16 is up. If there are any issues checking in, I will be more lenient this round. Sounds cool. Just want to make sure that people know, like, I'm not trying to, like, get anyone with a game loss or anything like that. Although I have given everyone... Cool. So looks like we are all good. I'm going to jump into a game here. And I'm just going to go server deafen. We're going to be watching Henry Brand here. So let's see exactly what Henry's going to be playing with. Cool. We're going to jump right into this. Word. So at the bottom half, we have Henry playing Ice Rider. And Henry is going to be playing against Tally Somsaurus. Hopefully I'm doing that right. I'm just going to call them Tally for short because their name is long, and we're just going to go with Tally. So it's an Eternatus matchup for Ice Rider. I mean, this to me seems like it's going to be the absolute pinnacle of what's going on at the late night series. We see this quite often. We got players playing Ice Rider, great players playing Ice Rider, and then we have lots of players who are playing Dark. So that's exactly what we have going on here. I'm just going to pull up the lists, let you know if there's anything going on interesting with the lists. I have a lot of experience with both of these decks. So Henry has an Articuno in his list, a Mew in his list, a Cobalion GX in his list. Lots of cool stuff. Nothing crazy going on there. Eternatus list has access to Crobat V as normal. It has access to Moltres V as normal. It does play a sneaky copy of Guzzlord, Liepard V, Cheryl, Weakness Guard Energy. So a lot of cool things going on there. I'm just going to double check to make sure everyone else is doing all good. We got both players checked in at the top game. Both players checked in table 2. Both players checked in table 3. I just want to do my judge checks after making a slight mistake again with what's going on. This is the best that I have, the least I could do. Just making sure that everyone's all checked in, all playing, everything's all good. So we are all set up for goodness here. So, word. I'm just going to let everyone know that Swiss is going on. So, word. We're just going to let this gameplay happen. You can see that Discord's being very pixelated. Quote tweet. We are live with the top 16 players. Let's get it. Word. So we are here. So we see that Henry's hand's like, okay, he's going to have access to another energy that he can attach to that Ice Rider V. I don't think it's going to go onto the Sobble because he doesn't have access to a Melanie by any chance. So we see another Sobble go down. There's Ice Rider with double energy. What else are we going to see here? All right. So he has access to the Ice Rider VMAX in his hands. Has access to Drizzile. Drizzile can grab a card out of Henry's deck now. Henry can grab an Air Balloon, a Scuba Net to get out of the active spots. So there's a lot of cool things that Henry can do here just to get out. And I think he's just going to be like, yo, word, we're going to get out of the spots. Now, I think Henry's great play here is going to be retreats. Oh, is he going to go for another quick ball? Okay, grabbing another Ice Rider V down from his deck. That's cool. Just in case the one goes down, and he's going to go for... Oh, you want to know what? I thought he was going to go for Max Lance to starting one so he'd have access to an energy. But Henry, being the world champ that he is, was able to draw the Melanie off, or was able to draw the Drizzile off his prize cards, which is able to kind of fetch out whatever he wants. He does have the Sobble down on his bench, so that is going to allow him to get out everything. So we see that there's the Crobat V. I mean, there's no Path to the Peak down on Henry's side. Should I say, Henry doesn't even play Path to the Peak. Thank you for coming over these technical difficulties. This new series came at a good time for me personally because I've recently taken up the game. Yo, let's get it. Thank you so much for all the kind words. I mean, today my computer crashed. The tournament I did Swiss rounds instead of Top Cut. What else could go wrong, right? Death comes in threes. So maybe my bad luck will, maybe it will pop up again. Maybe we'll see another computer crash or something. Knock on wood. Yeah, let's go Ice Rider. Ice Rider's a busted deck. A lot of peeps don't give it the respect, but it is very good against these dark type decks. So I think it's just generally amazing. So the one thing that's going to be a little bit tough for Henry is that his opponent's going to hit him for 270. Henry's going to attack again. His opponent's going to knock him out. Henry's going to attack again. So Henry's going to probably be forced to get a boss at some point this game. And reasonably, like, once Eternatus just goes 270 with Dread End, it's just going to be like, Brr, 270, 270, Boss's Orders, 270, Retreat, 270. There's really not a lot of things that the deck wants to be doing that is better than what it's currently doing with that. And, I mean, what else do we got going on here? We see Henry's able to go Drizzile. We see a Melanie. Like, I reasonably don't see too much that Henry's going to be able to do this turn. Yeah, Henry plays no Path to the Peak, so we're not going to see anything that's going to be slowing down the E-turn player. I mean, it doesn't really slow down the E-turn player that much. Maybe it makes it a better matchup for E-turn. I haven't had too much experience playing the list without Path to the Peak. And I mean, we see the Melanie, so the one on the bench is going to be able to get powered up. So again, the order of operations here, Henry hits, the opponent attacks, Henry hits, the opponent attacks, Henry bosses orders game. And I think that's as reasonable as it's going to get. Now, the E-turn player does have access to Cheryl, which can slow things down tremendously. So we do got to keep that in mind when it comes down to it. That Cheryl could be that play. Now, maybe this is going to be the play. Maybe Henry's going to be like, you want to know what? You're not going to get the knockout. We are going to vibe out a little bit. We're going to turn into another Ice Rider VMAX and retreat and just like be like, word, are you going to get a boss? And Ride of the High King is a much better attack in this matchup because the full bench there means that you're just doing the consistent 250 damage instead of having to discard those energies. So one last thing that Henry has to worry about is just the energies in general. Now, we do see the Eternatus VMAX. I know the quality on the Discord here is a little bit interesting to say the least. But there's another energy. Are we going to see access to a Cheryl? Because there is that Weavile play. We see the switch. Ooh, that could really hurt. That could really, really, really hurt Henry. So it's kind of the same play, different story. Switch, air balloon. His opponent's just kind of mimicking exactly what he did and putting the pressure back on Henry's side. Now, Henry can respond to this by going boss, boss, but currently Henry does not have access to that. So with one Shady Dealings and Teleon, Henry pretty much wants to get a Pokemon communication, which would not work because there's no Pokemon in his hand. So basically an evolution incense in order to kind of clean this game off. And wow, that is a top deck and a half. Now, he does play 2 copies of Boss's Orders. He's quickly looking through his deck. What is the way that Henry is going to kind of get out of this game? So we see going through there, grabbing another Evolution and Sense. Okay, Scoop Up Net is going to mean that he has access to the Inteleon for next turn. Is there a Boss's Order in the deck? That's going to be, like, I have not seen one. I could be, like, just missing it here. So it does not look like there's a single Boss's Orders. I'm not sure if Henry discarded one earlier or not, but very well could just like be prized. Could have been researched away. There's a lot of things that could have happened. Yep, there's nothing going on there. No funny business at all. So Henry does not have access to the Boss's Orders that would be able to go finish off the game. So prizing both Boss's Orders really just hurting Henry's chance of winning this game. So how is he going to be able to attack into this? I mean, I guess his only out here is going with an Ice Rider Calyrex V, getting a third one set up, really stopping his opponent from Boss. The Scoop Up Net cannot scoop up the horse. So we're going to see a Sobble go down, and he's just going to put that Inteleon back into the deck. So the best top deck in his deck really is not available to get those big things. Yeah, that was a crazy draw, right? Like, literally top decking the one card that you need, and then it doesn't work out. He's got access to quick shooting. Maybe enough quick shootings, a few pings here and there could really add up. But quite reasonably, I'd say this game is probably getting slightly out of Henry's reach. It's a little bit tough. So there's a 250, 250 plus 20, 270. We might see Henry be able to go with Ice Rider Calyrex V, 40 damage plus 20 damage, kind of like partitioning the damage away, chipping away at that Ice Rider in a unique way. Again, Tally here could go ahead and grab a Cheryl at any given point and be like, Lamau, all of your damage is gone. And I think that's a reasonable possibility. Now, I see that Henry's looking through both discard piles. I did not get a chance to see what's going on there. Now, just taking the quick knockout on the Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX up active, Henry, I think it just has to send to the Pokemon with the air balloon here, giving himself the most opportunities. And of course, his opponent's eyeing down this Ice Rider Calyrex V that's not an active spot, that has limited HP left. Now, what else can Henry do to kind of get around this? There's no reset stamp, so Henry's real chance here is just like trying to get some things down. Like maybe the Cobalion GX is going to come into play. Capacious Bucket seems like it's going to be our first stop to grab an energy, maybe. Or maybe we're going to see another Drizzile go down. If Henry wants to be able to attack with either the Cobalion GX or wants to attack with an Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX, we're going to need to see a Capacious Buckets. So there's Capacious Buckets. There's Pokemon Communication. Putting it back. What's Henry going to grab? Just an Articuno to kind of vibe out for a turn. So I think he's trying to just buy time with quick shooting. Basically rob a turn from his opponents. And I mean, Henry could steal this game still. With triple quick shooting Inteleon, he knocks out the active, has a great chance of just getting Boss, and his opponent really can't get around Articuno. So I think he's just kind of putting this game back into his favor, unless, of course, his opponent goes ahead and plays Cheryl here. Cheryl would literally take all that damage away. There's the energies. Are we going to see the Cheryl get dropped and heal everything? Weavile always makes everything so... It's either suspenseful... No! There's the Cheryl. There's Henry's game plan. We saw how he could win the game on board, bringing it back with our Articuno play. Really smart play from Henry, but his opponent timed that Cheryl to kind of just counter that play in general. So absolutely huge. That was a wild game, and that's the type of games that we're gonna get from the Late Night series. So see exactly what's going on there. For anyone else who's wondering, we have Isaac Trone, who was our last week's champion, is 1-2-0 against Hayden Frew. And so far we have Aqua BB up a game against one of the best players on the online game, Gabriel Smarts. Nearby is up a game over Ryoto Sato. And this is really game one between Henry Brand and Tally. A few other players have played their first game, but I'll keep everyone updated on what's going on. Now, Henry, in theory, should be favored in this matchup, but that Cheryl play is scary. Starting with the Articuno, though, it's really not bad. Henry's able to search out a level ball, grabbing a Sobble, but won't be able to get an Ice Rider Calyrex V this turn, unless, of course, he gets it off the top deck. Will he top deck twice in a row? No. So we're going to see the Sobble go down. Henry's not checking through his deck. He's probably like, oh, this sucks. Whatever. And really passing it over to the E-turn player. Now, E-turn did start. Tally did start with that Crobat. So maybe that's not a great sign. They both started with awkward starters. It's kind of weird. So we're going to see how they get set up. They just want to see an Eternatus this turn. Quick ball, sure. I mean, nothing crazy going on here. All right, so I mean, they have a really great start getting down the Sneasel so that maybe they could do that Cheryl play or move energies with Galarian Moltres V. We have access to more Dark Pokemon on the bench getting set up for that gigantic Dread Ends. And we're seeing some draw cards. Now, Henry top decking the Capacious Bucket makes a lot of sense. Is Henry going to search through his deck this turn to see what's missing? We saw that the bosses were missing last game. So, I think he's probably going to want to grab 2 energies, considering we're probably not pitching this hands. Unless, of course, Henry does go for a Marnie. There's the other energies. I quickly think that Henry's... Oh. Just 1 energy? Okay, we're seeing the energy go on the Articuno. It's not terrible. We're probably going to see a Drizzile come out. It seems like it's the only logical explanation. And Drizzile just going to grab a Quick Ball for an Ice Rider Calyrex V? Now, I'm just reading the chat here. Do I think Cheryl could be good in Ice Rider 2? I think it could be cool, because you are discarding your energies. Now, the issue is, will you be able to time it properly? Yes and no. It's kind of interesting. I go back and forth on it. I like the play for the Pokemon communication here, because it does save Henry one of those Ice Rider Calyrex Vs. Otherwise, he'd probably have to discard it with a Quick Ball. So we are seeing Articuno hit for 70 damage. I mean, the 70 damage probably isn't going to matter, but what matters the most is moving those energies over to the Ice Rider Calyrex V. It does save Henry from missing that energy on the first turn, and we're not going to see a boss's order, so the Articuno really putting in the work here. Henry's hand is a little bit shaky, but he does have access to Evolution Incense that he could use to grab the Inteleon that has shady dealings as well. Also has access to Drizzile, so we might just see like a research, or we could just see Henry just go pass, 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 while his opponent sets up or does not set up. I think Cheryl's going to be the huge swing card in this matchup, so that's really the pivot point that Tally is going to be looking for, whereas Henry's going to be like, word, I don't want you to have access to Cheryl at all. Now, there's no way to naturally search for it, and we're going to see Tally go down through likely their third Crobats. We saw it go in play. Not entirely sure what else or who else, what else is going to go on here. So there is that third Crobats. All the dark Pokemon are looking a little similar on the bench there. Eternatus blending into the Crobats. Thank you, Discord, for that video quality, by the way. But, yeah, we're just seeing Tally try to fill that bench. Maybe search for a switch. I'm not sure if they played a supporter already for their turn. I think it's just the Crobat so far. discarding another energy. That could be good for Galarian Moltres V in the future to move those energies with Weavile GX. Again, Henry not playing the Path to the Peak to get around things. So we're really just going to... Oh, we're just seeing a pass. So Henry top decking the Research can really change things up. That could just be an air balloon. We've already seen Henry use the Scoop Up Net, so are we going to see him go right into it? We do see the air balloon there. And are we going to see Evolution Incense discard anything? I don't think it's really worthwhile to do anything. Maybe it's just going to discard an energy to have access to it with... oh, we're just attaching another energy. So building up on Articuno, that's certainly not a bad strategy. And are we going to see an Ice Rider V? Okay, so we're seeing another energy go down. Another Sobble. Now, Henry does not have access to any way to draw cards. So, likes playing it in top deck mode. And that's one of the things where, when it comes down to this list, 2 Marnies, 3 Professor's Research. You just don't have access to everything. But, again, Henry drawing the Drizzile off the prize cards. I mean, if he did not win the World Championships by skill... Certainly the luck in these games is kind of unreal. Finding his way out of danger now. It might look like it's a little bit of luck, but he could also be carefully calculating by looking through his entire deck and deciding what is the best route. Should he get a knockout there? Does that make the most sense? That Drizzile can easily grab a Melanie, easily grab an Evolution Incense to grab out another Inteleon. So things are looking good for Henry, but Tally is not out of this game now. So I'm just going to let some players give them the congrats. If you haven't already and you played in my event, post about your deck list. Let me know exactly what's going on. Did you like the event? Do you have any things that you want to improve? Did you go 3/3 drop with your cool, I don't even know, Blacephalon deck? I don't know, whatever. Put whatever deck you want that you played in the tournament, and I'll give you a comment on social media. So, big hit there, 240 damage. I don't see any world that we don't use Drizzile this turn, and I think we're just going to see Evolution Incense get grabbed. It makes sense to play the Drizzile first here. Oh, we're seeing the boss's orders. Is Henry just going to be going for boss game? We could reasonably see this. I think he might just go for that, honestly. So let's look at over this. Let's see exactly what Henry could do. He can put down Drizzile, grab Evolution Incense, which can grab an Inteleon, Sword and Shield, which can grab 2 more cards, which can grab Boss's Orders, and another Evolution Incense. So that seems like it's everything that Henry needs to win the game, unless his opponent ruins his hand. But I'd say, if anything, Henry's in a great spot to just steal this game. Just going 2-2-2. I was thinking Eternatus, or Eternatus, single prize card, 2 prize card. And Henry's like, word up, 2-2-2. So we're going to see the Guzzlord. Now, Guzzlord's an underutilized card in the format. It does have its red banquet, so it's doing 120, and it's grabbing the knockout. So, like some of these other cool cards, it's going to be taking an extra prize card. Now, if Henry just has it the way that we're looking at it, Henry might just steal this game. Doesn't matter, extra prize card, not extra prize card. We'll have to see how that goes. Yeah, I think Henry's just going to send up the Articuno here, and we're going to see if we're going to see that Boss's Orders and Evolution Incense for the Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX. So the Mew's not going to matter, but Drizzile's likely going to go down. Probably going to see a quick search through the deck to see if we got it. So I see the other evolution, another evolution. I see the boss. Do we have access to Shady Dealings? So I don't see Shady Dealings. Again, Henry dealing with the prize cards big time. So we're a little bit left out. I mean, he could go ahead for it next turn. Because that Articuno is right there. Although the Guzzlord would just take extra prize cards. This Guzzlord seems like it's going to be a gigantic issue. So I think his goal here is to just go retreat, knockouts. And basically put it back in the same position for next turn. Basically trying to get a Drizzile out. Now with Guzzlord being in the deck, out of the deck, getting knocked out, it's just gone. There's no way to get it back. So Henry really with the prizing is getting burnt here. So great top decks on the prizing, but really not getting the cards that he needs to complete these games. Yeah, Ride of the High King. I think just doing the quick maths there. All right. So, I mean, right now, there's no way to draw extra prize cards. It comes down to Tally playing Marnie or not to really get rid of that Drizzile in Henry's hand for the final boss that would win the game. Because Henry now has the remaining piece of the puzzle. I think that's really where we're at right now. So, reading through the chat, Cobalion play would be really good for stall for boss next turn. It doesn't, no, because you can't necessarily, like you could, but it does, this is kind of the same thing. Tally has no way to get around this particular play except by playing a Marnie, which very well could have happened with the Cobalion. So this is technically the safer play because you are getting closer to one prize card, which puts the Inteleon back into the deck. This is game 2, so Henry's down game 1, Tally's up game 1. So, we're going to see if Henry wins this, we're going to see a game 3. If Tally wins, Henry's just knocked out of the tournaments. There's 17 minutes left on the clock, so plenty of time to play. And we do see that Marnie. Are we going to see access to a Drizzile? There is a level ball, and the level ball can search out a Drizzile, and the Drizzile can search out a boss's orders. So it looks like we're going to be going over to game 3. Also just going to be checking Discord. Okay, let's go. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, word. So I think they're just taking a little bit of a break here for a half a second. So we're just really waiting to see exactly what's going on. Oh, okay, it looks like they might have been just like whatever. Looks like we are all good to start game 3. So who is going to be starting this game? Okay, cool. So we see a Mew Star from Henry. Really not the strongest start. I think he's just going to be using that as a sacrifice to his opponents. Going second here. Really, like, could be spooky if the E-turn player could go boss's orders. But starting with Galarian Zigzagoon is kind of awkward. Looks like they probably top deck that Eternatus, unless of course they're just trying to play everything down and use the Zigzagoon as a sacrifice. It's really hard to tell when it comes to these matchups sometimes. There's Galarian Moltres, cool stuff. Just gonna congratulate another player on a solid top 16 placement. So if he Drizzled for boss, he didn't have access to the Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX. He needed 2 pieces. That's really the big issue, why he couldn't have done that. So you can't play 2 supporters on the same turn. Word. Okay, so Henry's just going to go ahead and get set up here. Double Sobble means that he's going to have access, and we're just going to see a Psi Power. Now, does it make sense to Psi Power at all? 250 plus 30 doesn't really get there. It's just going to hit the active. Yeah, he needed 2 things. Yeah, this looks like a really awkward start, especially if Tally's able to go ahead and bring up the Ice Rider Calyrex V. So we have Henry Brand at the bottom playing against Tally at the top. So there's a Marnie. Taking away Henry's access to Drizzile, will he find another out here? Yeah, so there's an out there with the Evolution Incense. That's completely fine. Are we going to see access to... How's Henry going to deal with this? I mean, his opponent really didn't get too much set up. It's just he won't have access to Boss's Orders plays or anything else like that. Because you can't go Melanie and Boss in the same turn. So, we're going to see the Drizzle come out. So yeah, anyone who's watching the game, feel free to rewatch the stream. Henry played a Research, so could not play Boss. He got the Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX off of that, so you couldn't have been able to do it. So the stream also has a delay right now, so Tally and Henry both don't have any advantage. Because, not that Henry needs my advice, certainly an accomplished player. Both players could be listening into the stream and gaining advantage from commentators' view. So there's nothing really here that they can grab a minute later. If they do find some advantage there, probably would take much more effort and time. That's based off my hunch. That's what we're going to be going off of. So, yeah, Henry's just slowly building up that Ice Rider VMAX. It's no longer going to be... it's no longer going to be a threat of just like getting knocked out immediately. So we're going to see how it plays out. I mean, that's how every kind of game works in Pokemon. I guess how it plays out. It's really just going to come down to when's that Eternatus VMAX going to come out on Tally's side? And are we going to see Psi Power for more like a little damage? Is that Mew going to steal more prize cards? Or is it just going to get knocked out? I mean, Articuno is very good for the standard format. I think it's a unique card. I very much like when cards are unique. Yeah, no worries, Spoopy Time. I got you. Okay, Pokemon communication, putting that Guzzlord away. What are we going to see? Are we going to see another Crobat here? What exact... Okay, so we are going to see another Crobat. Eternatus is always looking to fill up the bench with dark Pokemon and drawing more cards. And it looks like we're just thinning something out of the hand and probably trying to put it down. I wouldn't be surprised. It probably doesn't matter what really gets put down here. In terms of the best option, it's really, yeah. It's just Crobat trying to draw some more cards. Cool. Are we going to see Tally go for the attack? Because if Tally never attacks, Mew's really going to force it. Do we see a boss's orders here so that Tally gets the first hits? There's the Dread Ends. So Tally is going to take the first hit, but not on a VMAX Pokemon. Good morning, random dude. What's poppin'? There's the Ice Rider VMAX. Going up active. Likely, I think we're probably just going to see a Melanie here. Getting an energy, trying to draw into an Ice Rider V. To me, this seems like the absolute best play. You could go Evolution Incense and grab something off Inteleon, but you never know what you're going to draw off Melanie first. So my correct order of operation is likely just going ahead and playing Melanie. Henry might have a different plan, so let's go ahead and see what Henry has going on here. So we see access to the Inteleon with quick shooting. Now, maybe this is going to get the knockout in a couple turns. And he did get access to the Ice Rider V. There is a difference between... Is there a difference between stalling and slow playing? That's a tough question. I think slow play... Playing slow or slow play doesn't always necessarily mean that there's intent to it. Some players might be newer to the game. There could be situations that are incredibly difficult. There could be a lot of factors, including a disconnection on the game. Now, when it comes to stalling seems a little bit more intentional, malicious. So that's kind of how I read it. Either way, I think it's up to both players to play the game at a brisk pace. Sometimes turns are going to be longer. Sometimes turns are going to be shorter. Overall, I think it's in players' best interest to share the clock with their opponents to avoid penalties. So don't slow play. Don't try to take advantage of the clock. Those are all bad things. But make sure that you're also playing... Don't play lightning fast to the point where it can ruin things. Jumping back into the game, we're going to see that Ice Rider Calyrex V kind of get ripped up. And I mean, that puts it down to 3 prize cards left for Tally. Reading the chat again, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Shintaro Ito playing Ice Rider as well? So they have been playing Ice Rider, but they either did not play in my tournament or did not make it into the top 16. Yo, King Padero, what's poppin'? Sam, what is the first deck you're going to try out when EVs comes out to PTCGO on Thursday? I think I'm going to be one of those Filthy Ray players if I can get the cards for it. That'd be really cool. So this is a kind of awkward play. I think Henry still has access to a quick shooting. I don't know if he's trying to do math with Ride of the High King. We have that quick shooting there on the bench. Does it make sense to hit anything in particular? So I think you got to go quick shooting. Oh, we're just seeing the quick shooting knockout there. Interesting. Wow. Ride of the High King for the knockouts. And really putting himself back in that position where that Mew snipe damage added up a lot on the bench, putting Henry down to 2 prize cards. Now, the game's going to play out here is that Henry... excuse me. Henry could take the game next turn with that boss's orders. He has both boss's orders available in hand, so Tally's got to play a Marnie to get out of there. Drawing that extra prize card was huge because now Henry does not have to go for a 2-shot on an Eternatus VMAX, and instead just has to knock out a Crobat V or any other 2 prize card Pokemon on Tally's bench. that is 100% doable with Max Lance. Now, Tally needs to stop that from happening or hope that Henry does not have boss's orders. All right, we're going to see that Marnie. And also for anyone else who's watching, there's currently 4 minutes left on the clock. Just in case anyone's wondering, there are still a few games playing out. And all right. I mean, I don't really see a way for Henry to lose this. We have the Evolution Incense that can grab out a boss's orders. There's also the Shady Dealings right there in hand. So it looks like Henry's going to find that boss's orders that he was so looking for in the finals. His opponent, you have a good deck, hitting hard with the boss's orders. There's that 2 prize card. Big swing. Boom, 250, and Henry's going to be moving on to the top 8. So I'm just going to fix that right here. We're going to go ahead and properties change this. Word up. And I'm just going to go over here. Word. So we saw Henry Brand move on to the top 8 in kind of an electrifying series, going down to the wire in game 3. We'll be right back. I'm just going to get someone ready to stream in the top 8. So stay tuned. We'll BRB peeps. And thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, give this video a like, follow, subscribe, and leave me some comments in the chat on which decks you want to see played. Word, we are back, and I'm about to get everything all set up for the top cuts. So let's go ahead and end this round. Let's pair the next round. We have 8 players, so let me just let these players know exactly what's going on here. I'm trying to get some players to stream their games, because currently it looks like only Henry Brand is able to stream their game, which is fine. I'd love to watch Henry play Pokemon all day. Looks like Isaac Cherone is there. So we should be pretty cool. I'm just going to get everything set up so that they know what's going on. So top 8 is up. So we are going to look at these matches. We're going to watch the person who won last week play it out against Andrew Hedrick. And what's Isaac playing? So we're going to see another Ice Rider deck. Fun times, fun times. We're going to jump over into that game and see what's popping. So let's go ahead and do that. Word, we are back here, and we're just getting ready to start this game off, seeing exactly what's going on. So, I mean, who do we think is going to win? I think it's going to be Ice Rider. Ice Rider typically does very well against Dark decks. It's close. It is close. So, I'm just going to let everyone know what's going on Twitch. Word. So we have Isaac starting with the lone Ice Rider Calyrex. Going first, no Sobble, but they do have access to Capacious Buckets. Now, Andrew looks like they're deciding on what do they want to start with. It's always a tough choice. Really is a tough choice. Mewtwo. Mewtwo's typically not a card that you want to have in this matchup, because Isaac does play triple Path to the Peak, so it can be a little bit tough. So we are just seeing an energy. No energy is coming down with Capacious Bucket. Just going for the quick pass. Now, with the way that Andrew's deck is set up, Andrew up at the top playing Dark Box, it is one of those things where there are no shuffle cards in Andrew's deck. There's no Marnies. There's no reset stamps. So I think it would have been great for Isaac to grab a Capacious Bucket. Using Capacious Bucket, look through the deck, seeing exactly what is prized, to start coming up with a game plan like that, and of course thinning the deck out of 2 cards to increase the chances of drawing into a Sobble, so you're not forced to play a Marnie, because it seems like it's a pretty decent hand here. Just gonna congratulate a player here. Congrats and thank you for playing. We had a Blissey in the top 16. That's awesome. Word. Okay, so we're seeing Andrew go through that long deck search. I think that's always a great it's something that you can really tell what drives a player apart. We are going down with the other Mewtwo. So with all the Path to the Peaks in Isaac's list, it does make it a little bit tough. Yeah, it's 3 Path to the Peaks there. How are we, how's Andrew going to get around that now? Looking at Andrew's list, Andrew does have access to a Marshadow and Triple Viridian Forest. So if Isaac isn't able to particularly get at those paths, maybe Mewtwo's going to be absolutely, bussin'. It's going to be awesome. That's kind of what we have, going for us. Do I have a deck to win the tournament? I mean, I think Ice Rider's looking pretty good. If we look at the standings right now, we have Rapid Strike, Urshifu, Inteleon. We have a Ice Rider Inteleon. So let's just go over through the matchups. I think right now Isaac has an advantage against Andrew. Anything could happen, but I think Isaac's going to advance on. We then have Shadow Rider Calyrex versus Eternatus. I think Eternatus is going to move on. We have Luke Metal versus Rapid Strike Urshifu. I think Rapid Strike yeah, I think Luke Metal's going to move on. Then we have Rapid Strike Urshifu going up against Inteleon VMAX. So, or sorry, not Inteleon VMAX, Ice Rider VMAX. So right now, I think Ice Rider is probably just in a great position. If not, it's likely going to be Rapid Strike Urshifu that's going to take this event. That's really where I'm at. So moving on here, we see that Isaac was able to top deck a level ball. Does he want to play Viridian Forest? That's a tough question. Are there any tools that he could take out of Andrew's list? There are no tools. So it might have been interesting to just go Viridian Forest, pitch away Tool Scrapper. Still might. Just trying to thin cards out of the deck that you're not necessarily going to be using. Grabbing a couple of waters. I do like how Isaac is going through that full deck search, trying to learn what's available in the prize cards, and we are seeing the energy discard there. I think that's cute for future Marnie turns, or for future Melanie turns. Now, as long as he's able to get an Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX, he's in a great spot, but we do not see that. We're going to see another Sobble come down so that he has access to Drizzile. Probably going to have to see a Quick Ball on the water energy? Gotta get another Ice Rider Calyrex V down to kind of play this one out. A little bit of an awkward hand here from Isaac. This is really the break that Andrew is looking for in this game. And what are we going to see discarded? There's the water. Yep, so we're going to see... Oh, he does play the one copy of Crobats. Now, it is tough because... Oh, wow. Really kind of getting everything that he wanted there. Getting the Ice Rider V... Grabbing another water energy. There's a lot of cool things. Now, to anyone who's asking about Evolving Skies, I'm honestly not sure. I haven't necessarily played too much with Evolving Skies cards yet, or haven't necessarily thought about it too much. I'm kind of going to be like a kid on Christmas on Thursday. So if you haven't got a chance already, I am going to be streaming on Twitch and YouTube throughout most of the day. Check that out. It's kind of what we're going to see what's good. I think Rayquaza is cool. I also think Rapid Strike Urshifu is very good. So I just want to play around with those things. Also, I totally have some awesome white chocolatey macadamia cookies, which sound like they're going to be delicious. Oh, we're seeing Andrew switch into a Dedenne GX. This could be... It just keeps on going. Interesting game, non-interesting game, interesting game, non-interesting game. Seems like both players are just struggling to set up. Is at the end of the day, that's really where it's coming down. And it looks like the game's just being put back into Isaac's favor. Now, Andrew could just be setting up for a gigantic Dark Moon GX. But again, we gotta watch out for that. Gotta watch out for Path to the Peak on Isaac's side. He's gotta grab the VMAX here, I think. Well, there's the other Drizzile. It's a lot of things to choose. I kind of like the boss's orders play here. I think it's cool. Okay, so we are seeing boss's orders. We're going to have to see an Evolution Incense or some kind of Pokemon Communication or some kind of something here. And that's just going to grab the Ice Rider V Max. I'm just going to congratulate another player right here quick. Yeah, it's 2 days till Evolving Skies. It comes out Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Oh, we're getting rid of the Sneasel here, so no access to red and blue. I think that's also a cool play. Maybe going for the boss's order is another turn. Really isolating the Sneasels can be a strong play, causing Andrew to run out of energies. Now they're all those Pokemon are in range of just getting knocked out with Ice Rider Calyrex V. Max, I mean, I think this game is probably Isaac's. Lots of players, I love when players are just like, word, we did this, blah, blah, blah. I love when players are talking about how they did at the tournament and stuff like that. I think it's a smart play from Andrew going for an Aura Burn, really stopping the Mewtwo's, but it's not really going to give Andrew access to getting an attack off. I think at this point, Isaac's just like, word, as long as I get set up, I'm probably not going to lose this game. Like, I think this is like literally like Isaac's just going through the motions to not lose. So Path to the Peak is definitely going to shut those Mewtwo's down, giving Andrew even less options. Quick shooting is definitely an option. Is he just going to go for the knockout on the Mewtwo and Mew GX on the bench? I mean, it is a little bit blurry from the Discord screen share. So I never know if it's like... I never know how it's going to kind of add out here. Like, it's just like, does that Mewtwo, I think, has 3 energies? Could be wrong. Now, I like how Isaac's just kind of getting set up with it and being like, word... we have a path. Let's just stop it. Let's just build up some more energies and play. I think the better play here is to definitely go boss's orders. These cookies are busted. Soft baked macadamia cookies, you can't go wrong. I would have liked to go boss's orders if that was a possibility on the Mewtwo. Really forcing the Moltres into the active spot. Having access to just getting the knockout there. But we're going to see the max lands, the triple energy on the Ice Rider V. I think we could have probably gone for just like another energy on the active. Just so that was an option. But right now, like, I don't know. It seems like it's in a good spot here for... it's a good spot to be Isaac. Because Isaac has basically the 3 prize cards on board that he wants to draw, and has to send up that Mewtwo anyways, so that there's really no access to boss's orders. But we'll see exactly what Andrew's options are for his attacks that he could copy for 4 energies. Now that he has the Viridian Forest, getting his abilities back, can maybe attack with Greninja Zoroark. Could attack with Darkrai Umbreon. Those Mewtwo's are definitely censored. He won't be able to do any of the cool attacks like the Giga Ball GX or Greedy Crush because there's no GX Pokemon in play. So he's really stuck to attacking with Darkrai Umbreon, copying Black Lance, or copying Greninja Zoroark. Oh, we're just going to see a pass here. Now, this is interesting. I think we're probably just going to see Drizzile grabbing an Air Balloon retreating out of the active spots. Boss's orders game going on to game 2. Game 1 going for Isaac here. I mean, it's a tough matchup if you are Andrew. I don't know if the quick shooting there matters, but it's always good to play out your turn because you never know when you're going to be off by just like 10 damage or something if you did some math wrong. Certainly seems like a solid call overall. So we're going to see who's going to be going first or second. They're just rolling through it. First or second? First. Okay. So Andrew's going to be going first. Just trying to get out those Sneasels. Now, one thing that Andrew does not play in his list is any Silvally GX. So that could have been one of the reasons why he was struggling to draw a little bit. Yeah, Isaac's in a good standing to maybe win back-to-back late-night series events. Will we have Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX win for the 3rd week in a row? I mean, Everyone's just playing dark type decks at my events here, peeps. You gotta keep that in mind. So, will Andrew be able to find Sneasels and put them into play? That's really where this game is going to come down to. Are we going to be able to red and blue into those Sneasels and maybe draw some cards? And if anyone else is wondering, for the rest of the bracket, Henry Brand is up game 1 over Kyle Vincent Imperial. Ryoto Sato is up game 1 over Rory Sharp. Hoos Bryan and Aqua BB are both tied 0-0. And this is the game that we're watching. This is game 2. Isaac is up game 1, putting himself that much closer to be a two-peat late night series champ. So no Sneasels down. Are we going to see an Ice Rider? No, we're not. So we're just going to see a Keep Calling. Really simple. I think Isaac wants to search the entire deck, but is opting not to, keeping it a little bit surprising. So, you know, fun times, fun times, fun times. It's dark at late night. Apparently it is dark at late nights. So Mewtwo can go ahead. Ooh, there's an early Dark Pulse. So Mewtwo's going to start picking off prize cards here. And I mean, the only logical next step is to send up another Sobble. We do have Drizzile. I think Drizile's a lot better on the bench, and I think Isaac is noticing that as well. Quick Ball seems like the card that Isaac is looking for the most. Maybe Andrew will be able to kind of like overcome this like quick start or this poor start from Isaac and just kind of jump back into it. Taking up a game 2. I like when games go to game 3. I mean, on one hand, I'm done commentating earlier. On the other hand, we get more gameplay. So it's a bit, I go back and forth on it, but it's one of those things where as a player, I like watching down to the wire games and really learning about gameplay and sharing my knowledge of the game with others. So we are going to see that energy go down on the Ice Rider Calyrex V. Attaching another energy seems logical. And we do see the Air Balloon. So Andrew does play Air Balloon. I incorrectly said that he does not play any other tools or anything. Yeah, it's just better to attack the Ice Rider Calyrex V in case Andrew plays a defensive boss. Bringing up something else that cannot retreat. Causing you to not have access to it. Now, goes a tag call. We see the Mewtwo there. Are we going... Does Andrew play Guzma and Hala? Okay, there is a red and blue. So we are going to see some energies come into play. We're not going to see a boss orders, though. So that Ice Rider Calyrex V is technically safe right now. Now, the big thing is, with 4 energies in play... I think Andrew could go Galarian Moltres V, attach for turn, and go for a Dark Moon GX. Dark Moon GX knockout Sobble. But the big thing that we need to get past here is Path to the Peak is in play. So there's a Dark Energy. What's going to happen here with the last card? Is this just going to be a pass from Andrew? Is he going to accidentally play a Crobat or Dedenne? It's one of those things, just for anyone who's in the chat, Discord, some players might not necessarily have all the capabilities to stream. I try to get the most quality stream whenever possible, but no one's boosted my Discord server or anything else like that. With Andrew having 1 card left in his hand, I don't know if he's just trying to determine if he wants to retreat or what exactly is going to be going down over there. It's really awkward. There's only so much that you could do with 1 card in your hands. There we see the big retreat. So nothing in Andrew's hand right now. At this point, I think it's just worthwhile to start drawing prize cards. I would go Melanie to the bench. just draw more cards. I think it's a no-brainer here. Draw as many cards as possible. Andrew's waiting it out. He would have done something way, way different. So right now, with the amount of energies, or the amount of Pokemon in play, currently Ride of the High King is going to be doing 10. It's going to be doing 100. Could do some quick shooting damage. Could be interesting. I think you definitely do the active because you have the Scoop of Net. You're going to get double use out of it. I think Evolution Incense also is fine. It's always having access to those Drizzles. Again, nothing to worry about Andrew shuffling hands here. So we're going to see the Scoop of Net on the active. Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX definitely going up. And what else is Isaac going to grab here? What else could he grab out of his deck that sounds quite good? I think it's one of those things where it's just playing the Drizzle down is doesn't really matter too much. I think it's just kind of trying to get set up for future quick shooting turns. And yeah, I think it's just like really like, yeah, I'll go for level ball. Nothing crazy going on with that either. Okay, cool. So we're going to see the Max Lance knockout. Isaac's going to take that 2 prize card lead. What's Andrew going to do? He already retreated his Mewtwo from last turn. Is not going to be able to send up the Air Balloon Pokemon. Probably just sending up the Mewtwo. Are we going to see the hard pass again? There's no energies to move around, so he either top decked or has to go hard pass. So the top deck would have to be Viridian Forest, a Marshadow, or a way to get one of those cards. Yeah, Cheryl just trying to thin a card out of the deck. And this really seems where Isaac's just going to be taking the game to a whole other level. We could see a boss's orders play here. I don't even know if we need the boss's orders play, to be honest. Like, there's no way to really expedite extra energies in play. So reasonably, I would just get set up. I mean, you could go for the Weavile and be like, LOL, you have nothing left. I think you just go for the knockout on the active with a Melanie. Really just pushing as many energies in play as possible. There's the 20 damage going down. We're going to see the Capacious Bucket get more energies. Are we going to see him go ahead, go with the Melanie play here? I like the Melanie play a lot. Oh, we are just seeing the boss. So I think the Melanie play would have been a lot better, considering I don't think there's too many energies going in play. I can't tell if there's 2 energies on that Umbreon and Darkrai on the bench. If there's 2 energies, I like this play a little bit more. But we are just seeing another quick knockouts. He does have Melanie energy, so reasonably, Andrew's just going to send up the Umbreon and Darkrai and use Dark Moon GX, pause the game for a turn and lose. We might also see a concession here. But going with the Mewtwo play here, I think the Umbreon Darkrai could have been a little bit better. Now, that is a top deck that does get a Marshadow, so maybe Andrew could do the long game comeback here. Trying to think about how he would do a comeback. I think it would involve using Galarian and Moltres V, getting things set up from that angle. Yeah, I don't know how else that would really work out. He needs to get more energies into play and maybe get another Sneasel into play. And right now it looks like Isaac's like, I have Melanie, and if you're not using Dark Moon GX, you lose the game. So I think we're going to see a Dark Moon GX come from Andrew here. And that's probably just going to bring the end of it. Andrew's going all out here. And even if there's no Melanie play, Isaac looks like he's going to be able to have it with just like Ice Rider, Calyrex, VMAX, Boss, Energy. It looks like this game is so like one-sided at this point. I could only assume that Andrew's going through the motions and did not get it, so by not setting that up, that is going to absolutely be game. We're going to see Max Lance, Isaac, Drone moving on to the top 4. So I'm going to get this set up for the next phase. So change over to top 4. We're not in the top 4 yet, but we will be there. Lots of great players. Ice Rider might win the 3rd tournament in a row. We currently have them pretty well positioned. So I'm just going to transition over here. Word. So lots of crazy plays there. But we do have Isaac advancing over Andrew, playing Dark Toolbox. So Andrew played great. Andrew's one of the best players that we have available on the online circuit. But Isaac really making a name for himself back-to-back weeks, pushing the limits as a player. So great stuff overall from Isaac and Andrew. I'm going to take a brief break while I get everything set up for the top 4, but I'll catch up with everyone real soon. we are back here with our top 4. I'm just going to make sure that everything is all updated. We have Henry Brand playing it out against Isaac Trone. So, looks like we're going to be able to see the finals one way or the other. Probably just going to see it from this perspective for both the top 4 and the finals. So we have Ice Rider against Ice Rider on one side of the bracket, and we have Shadow Rider against Luke Metal on the other side of the bracket. So now if I had a hunch, I'd say Shadow Rider's winning this whole tournament. It's either, I mean, it's probably Shadow Rider or Luke Metal. I think the win between Hugh Bryan and Ryota that's going to really determine who's going to be winning this. So let's go over and see exactly what's going on with the PTCGO gameplay. Don't mind me, I have a taco that we're just absolutely vibing out to. I'm just going to update on what's going on here. Perfect. So switching over to the top 4. Awesome. So, looks like Henry started this game off. And when it comes down to Henry's list, I don't entirely know who has the better list overall. I think Henry plays the list that has the Cobalion, doesn't play Path to the Peaks. So I'd say Henry's list probably has an advantage here just because Path to the Peak is not going to be particularly strong in the mirror match. So Isaac really has 3 extra kind of deadish cards in his hands. Henry is going first here, so I'd say early predictions are that Henry is going to be doing quite well in this matchup. Also, don't mind me, I'm just totally vibing out to this delicious taco. So we're seeing the Marnie, and Henry does have the energy, does have the Ice Rider VMAX. Are we going to see Henry go for the attack first? He's giving himself access to another Drizzle, which I think is smart, giving himself, like, options now. The one thing that's really awkward is that Isaac now can go attack, 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 and wins the game in 4 turns by knocking out an Ice Rider V Max and an Ice Rider V Max, whereas Henry might have to do the same thing in order to win the game. So I don't think Isaac's out of the game, but I'm sure Henry has a plan against this situation. Yo, Brick User, what's poppin'? So, we're seeing Isaac just go ahead, use Drizzle. What's Drizzle gonna really grab here? I'm gonna put these back, I'll be right back. Word, got a taco in there. Go Henry, tomorrow I want to tell my friends that I lost to the champion. I mean, yeah, Henry's great. Could be a champion here. I mean, lots of great players turning out to play these events. So we are seeing the Marnie come down from Isaac's side. This does allow Henry to kind of go for this play where he could go boss's orders, knock out the Ice Rider V on the bench. Also top decking that Inteleon gives him more options than I previously anticipated. Okay, so starting off with the Inteleon with quick shooting. Word. Maybe he's getting set up for some kind of knockout here. I'm honestly not entirely sure. It doesn't look like we're going for the boss's orders play here. I really, like, maybe it's going to be an Ice Rider V. I think that's what Henry really needs to grab here this turn. So that's going to be a quick ball if I've ever seen one. Oh, it's going to be a research. Hopefully you can get an Ice Rider V down. Oh, and he got an Ice Rider V and a Saw Bull and a level ball. So Henry making the correct prediction there. You'd think you were going to see the energy on the benched Ice Rider V. It doesn't look like the active is going to survive this attack. And of course he just wants to go for the Articuno. Maybe he's just going to build up another Pokemon in play. Oh, we're going to see 250 plus 70. That's going to be a knockout. Makes a lot of sense. Maybe building up the second Ice Rider Calyrex V with quick shooting damage. Yeah. So Henry's goal here is going to be going for max lance, setting this up to 250, using the Articuno, hitting for 70, moving the energies to the Ice Rider Calyrex V on his bench, and then proceeding the game from there to knock out the Ice Rider Calyrex V Max in the future on Isaac's bench. Being ahead of turn from Isaac allows Henry to kind of like play this out to the absolute best potential. I'm just going to give Andrew a quick shout outs. For making congrats on the placement. Good stuff. Got it. So, just want to make sure that everyone's getting the praise here, peeps. So, I think we're going to see an Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX do max lance to our opponent's active. I don't really see any world where that's not going to happen like that. It looks like Isaac's just going to go knockouts and hope that Henry's small hand is not very good. So, of course, going for the 3 prize card turn there. Putting Isaac down to 3 prize cards left only. So that's only 1 Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX away from winning the game. Taking a little bit of a lead. Henry, of course, correctly choosing the Pokemon with Air Balloon to send up. And I think we're going to see a level ball for a Drizzile. That's going to be Henry's out to this otherwise pretty dull hand. Now, some of the things that we can grab with a Drizzile. You can grab any trainer card. So Henry might be like, word, we want to grab a Melanie, or maybe we want to grab an Evolution Incense. An Evolution Incense does put Henry in range for a Shady Dealings. But we're just going to go for the Marnie and hope to draw into the Water Energy. Now, Henry did draw into a Water Energy, which will allow him to use his Articuno, moving the energy to the Ice Rider Calyrex V on the bench. So getting everything all set up to try to take advantage of this game. I think Henry's probably in a great spot, especially with the quick shootings. The Articuno, like there's going to be a bit of a showdown there, maybe. Really seems like it's going to be Henry's game to lose here at this point. So we're going to see the retreats, bringing up the Articuno, because that does do the perfect 70 damage in order to knock out that Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX in the front. 250 plus 70 equals 320, so it's that magic number there. But Henry does have those quick shootings available. I think he just goes ahead and starts hitting into the Ice Rider Calyrex V. And I mean, if Isaac decides to go with Articuno, I think that's when Henry goes that route and responds. So, got to move both energies. There's the Articuno, taking those energies out of harm's way, really going after that 3 prize card VMAX there. So moving those energies to the Ice Rider Calyrex V. And what's he going to get off the prize cards is the big question. The other quick shooting can be cute because it's just going to give Henry more damage options than Isaac. And I think just like damage output or damage placed by abilities is going to be the reason why Henry's going to win. It's going to be the amount of turns taken, the amount of damage done. So really Henry having that extra step, but Henry's damage output's going to be here, and Isaac's damage output's going to be here. It's clear to see that Henry just wins. Articuno, if anything, would hinder Isaac, just because Henry could start gobbling things up with quick shootings sooner or later. He's soon going to have triple quick shooting on board. I don't see how Henry's going to lose this. Isaac has 0, Henry has 3. That's like Henry's like, oh cool, by the way, I got an extra turn at the beginning of the game because I won the coin flip, and I'm doing additional 60 damage per turn. Let's see who's gonna win. So maybe we are gonna go to that play. What there? Okay, so we are seeing that Isaac is gonna be going for an Articuno play right now, or at least it seems like he's gonna be going for an Articuno play. It's an interesting question for sure. And Shadow Rider is up game 1 against Luke Metal, so it looks like we might be seeing Luke Metal against, Shadow Rider against Ice Rider, the Battle of the Calyrex. Yeah, so we are seeing that game 1 go to Henry. So I think Isaac's just going to be going first here. Unless, of course, he has some other strategy going on. You won the coin flip. Would you like to go first? Yeah, so Henry's going to be going second this game. And starting with an Ice Rider ain't bad. Ice Rider has access to Marnie, supporters. Does not have Sobble, does not have energy. But Isaac might be giving Henry those extra cards there. I mean, Articuno certainly isn't a bad card to play down in this matchup, but Isaac having access to Sobble, having access to an Ice Rider Calyrex V. This could be a good start for Isaac. Does he have the energy to make it all better? That's really what we're looking for. Like, this matchup is really like, do you have this? It's kind of like Goldfish of Pokemon. Does Ice Rider have any water energies? Yes. Does it have Drizzile? Yes. It's one of those, like, kind of childhood matching games. So no energies there. And Henry's hand's awkward, but there's no other way to play it out than just be like, word, I'm just going to Marty this hand away. Maybe getting a Sobble and an energy would be great. And there is access to it. We do see that there is Level Ball there. There is Capacious Buckets. Henry could go ahead and go into an Articuno, attaching an energy to the Articuno, and hoping that Isaac does not go Melanie, Energy, VMAX. I'd like to see Henry look through the deck a little bit more, especially with some of the wonky prize cards that he's had throughout the event. Just comes down to, are we going to see the Articuno play? We are not. We are seeing Articuno go up, though. So using Articuno more or less as a meat shield. Looking into Henry's list, Henry does play a second Air Balloon and a Scoop Up Net. So So that is a way to kind of move through Ice Rider Calyrax and kind of be able to attack next turn. But it doesn't look like Isaac's going to let that necessarily happen. It just comes down to, will Isaac be able to get that first attack off? It's pretty much what decided the winner last game, is who did more damage throughout the game, and that was Henry. So I'm gonna read a question through the chat. Brick user, one question, Zach. Why do players like not play down all playable Pokemon at the beginning of their turn? I mean, like Crobat or Activate from hand. I understand others. Why just not put them down? This might be a silly question, but still, you want to keep cards in your hand because those are technically options. Playing things down on your bench is really like, you got to look at that and be like, my bench is a resource. I need to manage it. So if you play everything down, you're taking away options potentially to play down other Pokemon, or give your opponent actively more prize cards in a game. So it can get a little bit tough there. So Henry's just looking to see exactly what's going on. I think it's a great strategy. Just always checking up what's on the game state, looking through discard piles. These are really the traits of why Henry is a world champion. And if you're not doing these things, look at this game. This is exactly what you could be doing. So we're going to see a battle of the Articunos here. Now, one thing that should be noticed is that Isaac has less ways out of the act. Well, I mean, I guess it's not less ways. Just has 2 air balloon and scoop up net. I think they both have the same amount. 2 air balloons and 1 scoop up net seems to be the correct choice. Now, I think Henry's like, cool, I'm going to attach an energy to an Articuno first and really put myself in that position to take over this game. Not going to be able to use boss's orders because that's what Articuno is going to be blocking with its Blizzard Veil ability. So with its Blizzard Veil ability, as long as it's your active Pokemon, whenever your opponent plays a supporter card, geez, those words are hard to get out of my mouth. Prevent all effects of that done to your benched water type Pokemon. So we're not going to see access to Blizzard Veil at all. Or we're not going to see access to the bench Pokemon at all. Blizzard Veil is going to stop that. So currently, huge plays here. So reading through, I play Rapid Strike Urshifu, so I need to put down Sobbles. But yeah, in some instances I just put down useless Pokemon. I'll definitely try to utilize my bench folder. Yeah, no worries. It's really one of those things where a lot of players gotta look at that opportunity and see what's up. So we're seeing Henry go for the quick pass after that Articuno. Are we going to see Isaac retreat out of Articuno and start doing damage? Just getting the knockout? That could put some pressure on Henry. Now, if it's just going to be a simple quick shooting, getting some damage built up on an Ice Rider Calyrax V, and it's going to be a quick pass, I think it's going to be pretty tough for Isaac to jump out of it. It really all depends on what's in Isaac's hand right now. Ooh, there's the scoop of nets. We're going to start seeing some more damage go down. Although that does take away some of Isaac's pressure for next turn, it does kind of put that Ice Rider Calyrax V in a one-shot range. But reasonably, like, I think Henry can kind of play around that with doing Cold Cyclone, getting a few quick shooting set up himself, and really putting himself in that position to take over the game. So we are going to see the energy go down there. Now, one thing that Henry could do is get things set up for a quick shooting knockouts on the active Articuno. And I mean, this might legitimately see what we're going to like get set up. I think he wants to grab down another Ice Rider Calyrax V, or maybe in a future turn. Still not sure on how Henry's going to play this. I'm sure he's trying to count the turns in his head. Does he need the other Ice Rider Calyrax V right now? Of course, he just wants to get set up with Drizzles and getting out more quick shootings. Now, this is one of the advantages that Henry's list has. There's only 2 quick shootings in Isaac's list, and in Henry's list, it seems like there's a little bit more there with triple quick shooting. Am I sad that Gang Q is going to go? A little bit sad. I mean, it happens. It happens. So we are seeing the quick shooting go against that active Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX. Ooh, and the energies are going to the Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX as well. This seems like it's going to be really tough because Isaac is going to be a turn behind. I think the quick shooting is going to actually have to go on to the Articuno on the active. And we do see a Tool Scrapper. Tool Scrapper just kind of taking care of an air balloon. Nothing crazy. Isaac's refreshing his hand. It's not like Henry had like anything ridiculously crazy. But does have access to Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX, Research, even Inteleon. I think Henry's just looking for as many quick shootings as possible for Mirror. And I think Isaac still has not used quick shooting. So where are we going to see that quick shooting damage go? I have a hunch that it's going to go into the active spot. It is not. And that's going to kind of keep this Articuno alive. Now, Henry has access to kind of like a free prize card in the active spots. Is he just going to go ahead there and take it and see what Isaac sends up? Yeah, it looks like we're going to go for that. Keeping that Articuno in the active as well. Really going to see where this goes. Now we're just seeing another Sobble. With Henry's bench being completely filled, he doesn't have room for that Ice Rider Calyrex V. Not entirely sure how this turn's going to play out. He could go for the other Inteleon, but it doesn't necessarily set up things nicely for him. Okay, we are going to see the other Inteleon come out. I'm probably going to grab a Level Ball to grab a Drizzile out, as long as there is a Drizzile left in the deck. Oh, we see the Scoop Up Net. Okay, I think the Scoop Up Net is very cool. All right, wow. Looks like Henry's gonna go all back in, getting all set up there. Ooh, and without the Articuno, there is the boss's orders to just take out the prize cards. So now Tide seems back like it's turned back in Henry's favor. Henry's down to 3 prize cards. Isaac's at 6. So Isaac's going to have to take the knock to put it down to 3. That's going to give Henry first shot on this Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX that he might be able to finish off with the quick shooting Inteleons. Now, it looks like he has access to the VMAX with the Evolution Incense. Will Isaac play something that will affect Henry's hands at all? That's really where I'm looking towards. Is there going to be like a reset stamp? Is there going to be a Marnie? These are really the kind of the huge plays. And we're just kind of, I think Isaac's like, those sound like great choices, Zach. Which one should I choose? Okay, Evolution Incense. That might give him a little bit more options when it comes down to maybe grabbing out the Inteleon, playing around things like that. I mean, I think this game is probably in Henry's favor at this point. It just depends what he's able to go for. Evolution Incense could grab Drizzile, depending on what he top decks, but I think it's going to be a Melanie onto the benched Ice Rider Calyrex V, and Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, 250 plus 60 is not enough for a knockout brick user. So Henry can't win the game next turn. Henry should be able to win the game in general, but it comes down to Henry getting set up with enough energies to use max lance. That's really where the win condition is going to come from. We are going to see that reset stamp. So Henry's looking at his hand, and he's probably saying goodbye to his hand at the same time. It's going to be kind of awkward. I don't know if I don't think Isaac needs another Ice Rider Calyrex V, just because of the way that quick shooting damage is going to work out. But we do see access to a level ball, which can grab out a Drizzile, which can grab out a Melanie, which can power up that Ice Rider Calyrex V on the bench. So I think Henry's just going to go ahead and send up Ice Rider Calyrex V and see what really his top deck is, because he's going to be able to see the first card for his top deck normally per turn. And then if he is able to grab Drizzile, he will be able to see 3 more cards with Melanie. As long as he's able to grab an Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX out of those cards, he should be able to win the game. So we are seeing the Calyrex V go up. There's a research, but that doesn't necessarily get everything for him. It's going to have to grab... That's not a Drizzile. Uh-oh. Certainly a little bit spooky. So that Sobble on the bench is literally just eating a space, cannot do anything. The Drizzile is just not there. Again, searching through with the prize cards. I mean, Henry might know this. I definitely did not know that. So at this point, he could really only play the research. And just in case Isaac does go for a knockout, I think it's much better to put down an Ice Rider Calyrex V or Ice Rider Calyrex V on the bench here. Still thinking it over. He does have access to pretty much everything for next turn. Just kind of puts the game back in Isaac's favor. So really that reset stamp kind of hurting Henry likely more than he thought. But I mean, Isaac has no more reset stamp. It's already been played. So if worse comes to worse, it's just going to be a Marnie. And right now it looks like it's pretty good for Henry right now. We're going to see the Pierce go towards the active. Henry does have access to Capacious Bucket, Melanie, Evolution Incense. He's kind of checkmated Isaac into whichever Pokemon he brings up. So again, Isaac can get out of this by playing Marnie. Otherwise, it looks like Isaac's just going to have it. So if we do see a Drizzile here, that is likely going to be for the Marnie. Although if he does attack with the active, he does put himself closer to a knockout. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter if he's just going to go for a Max Lance. Isaac still needs a lot more resources to kind of finish off this game. So it could get a little bit dicey for Isaac with the amount of energies he's had to discard with Max Lance. Just an update to everyone. Ryota Sato and Siu Brian 6 have both tied up their games, so they're both 1-1. So it's hard to tell who's going to win this game. I'd say it depends on the Marnie. Just going to congratulate another player on Twitter. Hey, Stazzy. Hey, congrats on the top 8 again. Solid placements. You're looking really good for the Invitational. Bo George, thank you for watching my videos. I appreciate it. A lot. So here it looks like Henry likely has it with the Ice Rider Calyrex V. I say this like almost every single time. Looks like we're going to see through the deck with that, as long as Henry has access to an Ice Rider Calyrex V Max. There is no V Max in the deck. Jeez. Looks like it's just not going to happen here for Henry. I don't see a way for him to tank a hit, unless, of course, his opponent does not... Oh, never mind. He's just going to top deck Ordinary Rod off the Melanie. Shuffle 2 Pokemon back, and that's going to be game. Attaching... Yeah, I think it's just going to be an Ice Rider VMAX Max Lands game. So top decking the Ordinary Rod there is huge. And it looks like Henry is going to be moving on to the finals. So we're going to see Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX in the finals for the third time. So let's go finals. We got that set up for the stream. Word. So we're going to be taking a brief break while I get everything ready for the finals. So that was a huge top deck from Henry. It seems like he's the top decking wizard this tournament. Is he going to be able to take it down? So we'll see exactly what goes on there. But stay tuned. Get ready for the finals. I'll be back in about 10 minutes or so, maybe less. Grab a drink, stay hydrated, all that good stuff. Word, we are back here, peeps. We are one game away now. On one side of the bracket, we have Henry Brand, our 2019 and reigning world champion, playing Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX. On the other hand, we have Ryota Seta playing Luke Metal. So I'm sure Henry's not particularly happy to see that matchup. And of course, the Luke Metal's like, word, weakness is the best. We're going to see an action-packed game, so stay tuned. I'm going to get everything started and make sure that everyone has the opportunity to see what's going on here. Should be a great game either way. Let's go ahead and go admin, dashboard, end round, word, pair next round, busted. Let's go ahead and see what we got going on with the matchups here. So maybe Henry will be able to outspeed the deck. It's really where we're going to start trying. So I'm going to get prepared with PTCGO just to make sure we are all good here. And boom. Just going to make sure I pull up all the lists here. All right, so we have Henry Brand playing against Ryota Sato. Luke Metal versus Ice Rider. Now, the Luke Metal player is going first. Sure, it's not one of those things where Henry could be like, let's go turn 2 Max Lance and win the game. That really looks like it's not going to be a possibility here. So Henry's Ice Rider Calyrex V might just be absolutely getting destroyed here. We're going to have to see how it plays out, but weakness is going to be the big factor here, if there ever was a big factor to deal with. Now, starting with Luke Metal isn't necessarily the greatest start, but we'll have to see how it goes. Okay, so we're just like a easy Zacian play here, getting some things down. Maybe we're going to see Henry grab some energies with Capacious Bucket. I'd really like looking through the deck with a free search first, if we have that as an opportunity. We are going to see the Quick Ball go down. Sobble's going to go down. Henry's not necessarily searching through his prize cards, not grabbing the energies to thin through the deck, and just going for that Pierce play. Now, it might be one of those things where Henry's prematurely given up on this matchup. I mean, it seems like it's not necessarily the greatest. You make it all the way to the finals, and you're like, word, what are we going to do? And of course, there's Zamazenta that can just completely block the Ice Rider Calyrex V. Henry does not play Path to the Peak, so cannot get through that Zamazenta unless he is attacking with an Ice Rider Calyrex V, which again knocked out by Assault Tackle. It gets worse and worse the more that you look at it. It's really one of those things where you hate to see it if you're Henry, you love to see it if you're Ryota. Now, we're just seeing the full metal wall for the -30. Cool. I guess Henry's just gonna go ahead and attack. There's really nothing else to do than attack. There is access to the Evolution Incense that could grab out a Drizzile, getting things set up. What is Henry going to grab here that is going to save him out of this situation? Taking a full look through the deck now, or mostly a full look through the deck. Is the research really going to be the play? Henry does have access to attacking with the Zamazenta with either an Ice Rider Calyrex V or one of his single prize card Pokemon. But he's just going to be going for the knockout on this Pokemon, grabbing an easy 3 prize cards. Taking a lead. You never know when you're going to be able to just steal this game from Ryota. But right now we're going to see this Zamazenta kind of vibe out. It's going to be doing... Zacian has 220 HP, minus 30 from the metal goggles, minus 30 damage from the full metal wall. That's a lot of damage. And we are seeing the tech that's popular on a lot of Japanese players. That's going to be the Erica's Hospitality. So they just continuously draw and see what they got going on. You can see by Henry's kind of emotes. He's not necessarily the happiest with what's going on. But maybe can build up a Melanie on the bench to try to attack. Or splitting up energies. That doesn't sound terrible. Another thing, too, is that the metal goggles will block the quick shooting pings. So doing the damage on the active is going to be imperative before it gets the metal goggles down. If I were Henry, I'd probably go for a Drizzle here, just to try to get double quick shooting down. And maybe that's a way to get around the Zamazenta. Because weakness might not even be a true factor here. Although it does seem incredibly unlikely that Henry will be able to make it out of this matchup unscathed. So just grabbing another Melanie for next turn, getting set up for that Ice Rider V attack. We do have access next turn to Glacial Lance to do 200 damage. Not really an attack that many players typically play around with, but that's what we got going on as Henry's option here. Looks like, oh, there's the switch. So we're going to see, oh, and there's a Wondrous Lab. So the way that Henry's list is set up, we are not going to see access to the Ice Rider Calyrex V attacking because it doesn't have anything. Henry's going to go first. So I think Henry's going to try to take a quick game on Ryota. So that's up one game for the Luke Metal player. Henry's down a game. We are watching the game from Henry's perspective. So who's going to win? It might just be a simple 2-0 sweep by Luke Metal. Maybe Henry's going to be able to do some damage in this game. We'll have to see how it plays out. So Henry's likely going to be going first this game. Just trying to go for a max lance, just early attack. No basics in Henry's hand is fine, although it does give Ryota an opportunity to get some early cards drawn to things. This is a decent hand for Henry in order to accomplish what could really win this game. It's really going to be that quick game plan. Or Ryota would just have to underbench. Now, having the Luke Metal in the active spot is really going to save Ryota from getting hit hard with that max lance. Simple Sobble, energy on the active, another Ice Rider V goes down, and it's as a simple pass as that. Putting it into Luke Metal's hand here. Cynthia Kalen is a pretty good sign for Henry that could be nothing in that big hand. However, we are seeing double Zacian play down. Now, maybe that's a little bit greedy in my opinion, just because the Zacians can go ahead and go for... you can now Henry technically has a way to draw all 6 prize cards. 2 prize cards off of the Zacian, 2 prize cards off another Zacian, 3 prize cards off of Luke Metal. So we'll have to see. There's certainly some opportunities. I would have liked to see the full metal wall first, just because I think Henry's going to go for a max lance discarding both energy here. There's the VMAX. Oh, we're just going to see a boss, and that's going to be a quick knockout. Max Lance discarding both. Cool. So now the full metal wall is going to have no effect. So it's a little bit of a poor judgment call from Ryota's side, but Henry's just trying to go for those quick prize cards while they're still available. And we'll see. I think he's just... I think Ryota's just trying to get set up here with more energy in play. That Guzma Hal is going to be able to grab a Coating Metal energy, most likely. Either that or it's going to be a Capture energy for a Zamazenta. But we are seeing the Wondrous Lab really just take Henry's attacking options out of the game. And Henry will have no way for the rest of the game to bump the Wondrous Lab. So this very interesting Luke Metal list, really stopping Henry's damage output, stopping Henry from being able to attack, really making it an awkward situation. So energy going to the active. I guess Henry's just like, word, we're gonna see exactly if we're able to like maneuver around this. I think grabbing a Sobble out there seems like a pretty good strategy. Quick shooting, making sure the active can potentially get knocked out. And no attack there again because the Wondrous Labyrinth is totally blocking Henry. He needs to have one extra energy to attack. Both players do because they are not fairy type Pokemon. So the Guzma can fetch out Capture Energy or Coating Metal Energy. And Henry's just going to probably fall victim to a Steel Fist and seeing Metal Goggles reduce damage from quick shooting and stuff like that. So you can see when the Heartbreak emotes, it gets a little bit tough. And then, of course, we're going to see that extra energy grabbed out of the deck. Even if Henry attaches an energy and knocks and hits the active, 250 minus 60 is 190. 190 plus 20 is 210. Henry's still going to be 50 damage short of getting that knockout. So it really looks like this is probably just the game here. Henry's just kind of put in between a rock and a hard place, and it's not like there's any great decision that I think is going to save the game outside of just like Ryota disconnecting or something like that. So Henry's like, cool, I'm just going to get some damage off, see how that goes, maybe. Might as well use quick shooting where he still can on a Pokemon. I mean, he's playing absolutely brilliant. It's really just one of those matchups that's tough. And there you can see the 190, putting it down to 210. And we're going to see a quick response to the knockouts if he's able to attach an energy. And with Henry putting all those bench Pokemon down, that Erica's Hospitality is just drawing cards. Swinging 300 with that Luke Metal and getting that extra energy with Metal Saucer. The energy acceleration, damage reduction, healing coming from Green Man's side is just going to really take Henry out of this game. Henry can send up the Articuno and be like, cool, I'm going to take an extra turn, try to get things set up. Maybe you won't get any more energies. I think that's really where Henry's got to play the game out, see exactly what the opportunities are. Inteleon. And this could be the end of the reign of Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX winning these events. Of course, it's an incredibly poor matchup for Henry, and particularly with Henry's list, it gets even worse because of the lack of stadiums and particularly the lack of Path to the Peak. No true answers to Zamazenta V, and particularly with Green Man's the Ryota Sato's list with the Wondrous Labyrinth there, it's really going to be slowing things down on Henry's side with the energy attachments. If we see a boss's orders here, we can't see a boss's orders because of Articuno, so we're probably just going to see the Articuno get knocked out with a heavy impact. Probably just switch back here. Yep. So when Luke Metal has everything, they kind of have everything. Easy 300 damage. Again, not really a huge option to take the knockout on this Luke Metal. I think Henry's just like, you want to know what? I might as well play out the last few turns, just see how it goes. But with only 2 prize cards left, it seems like it's going to be quite difficult to kind of jump back into this game. So, also, it doesn't look like Henry plays any copies of Reset Stamps or anything to really mess with Ryota's hands, but is getting set up with those Drizzles to eventually evolve into quick shooting Inteleons. So, big hands, let's play Marnie. That seems like the good strategy there. All right. I mean, maybe just grabbing another Ice Rider V. Does it even? I don't even know if it makes sense to hit the field. I mean, he has to have some kind of answer for the Zamazenta V, but it seems like it might just be an easier response. And again, Ryota is just really a... Well, they need an energy in a stadium, so it could be a Guzma Halloway. Have they played both Guzma Hallas? They played 2 Guzma Hallas, and I think they've played both. Okay, there's going to be the quick knockout. So Henry is bringing it down to 1 prize card left. I mean, that's pretty close in a matchup that's, like, impossible, right? Henry does have access to boss's orders, but right now it looks like Ryota's just going to sit there with the... Oh, are we going to see a stadium drop? We are going to see a stadium drop. That is going to be Ryota Sato. Ryota Sato winning the Late Night Series number 3. So, close games from Henry, but not enough. Well, that's what we got going on for this event today. We had over 200 players, 236 players, in fact, played in this event. And we had a world champion play against Luke Metal in the finals. I mean, what is with world champions playing Ice Rider Calyrax in my events and making finals? So that's what we got going on for our stream today. I hope that everyone enjoyed watching. Shout out to everyone who streamed their games, played in the event, supported the event. Shout out to my sponsor, PTCGO Zone, who sponsored this event. Whether you're on YouTube or Twitch, I really appreciate all the viewership. If you haven't already, give this a like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. I've literally been streaming, like, it's been a long day for me, so I'm going to call it a wraps here. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Have yourself a great one. Peace out.